and welcome to Leaders of Tomorrow, the series that celebrates the entrepreneurial spirit of micro, small and medium enterprises. On Direct Connect, we take your queries across a range of subjects and try to help you improve your business. From finance to technology, marketing, HR, skill development and much more, Direct Connect is here to assist you, the MSME entrepreneur. Let's welcome our experts who will share their knowledge and answer all your queries. Rajiv Karwal, Founder Director of Milagro Business and Knowledge Solutions, and NK Meni, former Deputy MD in charge at SIDBI. Welcome, gentlemen. Yet another show, all set to hear questions from our MSME entrepreneurs.
Yes. Always looking forward to it.
All right. So let's head right into our first question. This one is from Mohini Milind Kelkar, MD of Grindmaster Machines, and she's joining us from Aurangabad. Hi Mohini, tell us your question please.
We manufacture polishing machines and super finishing machines and we export all over the world. My question is, for Make in India initiative, I believe that innovation is extremely important. So what are government schemes for promoting the innovation in India?
Okay, the government seems to be talking a lot about innovation these days. Are there specific schemes that are targeted towards innovation? Mr. Meni, would you like to begin?
Well, yes, definitely the India Aspiration Fund, which is, the fund which is placed with SIDBI,
yes.
And SIDBI is playing the role of a fund of funds for venture capital funds, is a fund which is targeting innovations across the various segments of MSME sector. So I think any kind of innovative project in the MSME space should first look at venture funding through any of the existing venture funds in the country, including the SIDBI Venture Fund. Right. In addition to that, R&D, etc. expenditure, there are also certain kinds of grants and schemes available through Department of Science and Technology and the DST also. Okay. So that could be yet another avenue. And lastly, under Section 35(2) AB of the Income Tax Act, the entire expenditure on R&D gets an exemption of 200%.
Okay.
As a tax deduction also. So if you are spending on R&D, you should be able to take that benefit.
Oh, wonderful. Apart from government schemes, Rajiv, are there specific schemes that are targeted towards innovation in the country?
You see, not the schemes, but suppose he goes to an IIT Bombay, for example, or she goes to IIT Bombay and tells that this is my problem. And if there are any technologies, which the students can develop or your labs can develop, which can be commercialized through their organization, that is one route. National Innovation Fund Foundation, which is there in Ahmedabad, yes. She can reach out to them. Maybe they have certain technologies which they can commercialize. And, in the DST especially, there is this fund called the TEPP, Technology Entrepreneurship Promotion Program, okay. which actually focuses purely on innovative products and technologies. So I'm sure, they can get a lot of support.
All right, Mohini, I hope that answers your query. Lots of options out there for you. Go ahead and explore those. Time for our next caller. LC Tolani, CMD of Pragya Equipments, is on the line from Indore. Yes, Mr. Tolani, please go ahead and ask your question.
The central government has got a credit guarantee trust for SMEs loan without collateral security. But when the SMEs approach to the bank, they do not entertain properly and they avoid them because they don't trust SMEs. So what is the solution for that?
Okay, trust. Is that a major issue for banks with respect to MSMEs? And would you say that what Mr. Tolani is facing, a large number of players out there face every day?
The fact also remains that the Credit Guarantee Fund has supported over 2 million units. So what I'd suggest to Mr. Tolani is that if it's an existing unit doing well, he should approach his bank and tell them to specifically cover his project under the credit guarantee scheme. And if the bank has any specific reasons for not covering it, let the bank make it clear. Failing this, he is also actually free to approach the CGTMSE, who would also take up with the concerned bank if necessary as to why they are not covering his case under the credit guarantee trust if it is an eligible case.
All right. Okay. So I hope that answers your query, Mr. Tolani. Let's move on and find our first email of the day. Ashwin Sangvi, proprietor, Astha Corporation, writes to us from Mumbai. He says, small entrepreneurs like me are always struggling with payment recovery. There is no fixed schedule for payments and they're not made within stipulated time. How should I cope with day-to-day financial needs? Rajiv?
I would say that, register yourself as an MSME, protect your credit because there are government mechanisms under the MSME Act 2006 which provide you that security. But beyond that, I think market should not be considered as a limitation by any MSME or any enterprise. Go and sell to those organizations, which are good payment masters, and customer is the best, person to fund your business also. So a little bit of lower margin is fine, but as long as the payment is secured. So I would say that there is a cost of money which any buyer actually factors into the entire business dealing. So sell a little bit cheaper, give the cash discount and get your money in advance rather than giving on long credit.
Right. Mr. Meni, your suggestions?
He could manage his working capital cycle better by, managing the raw material procurement process, by ensuring proper inventory control on the finished goods, stock in process, etc. He could look at more credit from his suppliers also.
Right.
If he can always pay them in time, but he can look at a longer cycle. Perhaps if it's a 20-day cycle today, he could make it a 45-day cycle. And ultimately, he has to look at managing the controllable factors under his control within the working capital cycle in his organization also.
All right, Ashwin, I hope that helps you. Let's get our next caller in. He's C. Subramaniam, proprietor of Otis Garments, and he's calling us from Tirupur. Welcome, Mr. Subramaniam. What's your question?
We are ready-made garment manufacturers, mainly kids and babies. I'd like to know, since there are no free trade agreements with other countries, our prices are higher for the foreign buyer than those of our counterparts like Bangladesh, Pakistan, and Vietnam. So how should a ready-made garments manufacturer like us battle competition in international markets?
Okay. Rajiv?
No, there is a quota system and a quota regime which is in operation, and Tirupur is one of the most competitive hubs for garment exports. I think he should cut down his cost, because if he can't source well and manufacture efficiently in Tirupur, where else?
Mr. Meni?
It's a fact that India has only 2 free trade agreements. Yes. I think with Sri Lanka and with Thailand probably. India has traditionally believed in, regional trading blocks. And there are 4 agreements within the regional trading blocks also, like the SAFTA. Then you have an agreement which is the South Asia region, basically the SAARC region. You have the India-Mercosur agreement, which is with the Latin American countries like Brazil, Argentina, Uruguay, and Paraguay. Then you have an Asia-Pacific trade agreement. And you also have one which is the BIMSTEC, which is the Bay of Bengal initiative. Right. So there are certain free trade agreements or preferential trade arrangements in these blocks. So he should look at these blocks amongst others. And having said this, as I understand, there are currently negotiations going on for free trade agreements with about 25 other countries also. As Rajiv said, I think he has to look at his markets, he has to find new buyers, new focus areas, and manage within his unit.
And you think he's sitting in an advantageous position.
Definitely.
Just by the fact that he's based out of Tirupur.
Exactly.
It's a major advantage to be in a cluster like Tirupur, always.
Yeah. Yes. All right, Mr. Subramaniam, I hope that answers your question and will help you out in future. Let's take a short break right here. Leaders of Tomorrow Direct Connect continues on the other side. Stay with us only on ET Now. Welcome back to Leaders of Tomorrow Direct Connect. It's that day of the week when our experts are solving all your queries. Time for our next call. Dr. Vivek Desai, MD of Hosmac India, joins us from Mumbai. Welcome, Dr. Desai. How can we help you today?
You see, I run a hospital management consultancy firm, and we have, contracted staff versus employed staff. That's the dilemma. Every staff wants to be on contract rather than employees because the take-home salary package goes up. So I wanted to know what is the statutory, requirement for this. Is it compulsory that the company should have people as employees, or we could have long-term consultancy contracts for people?
Okay. Rajiv, what's the optimum balance between contract employees and full-time
See,
employees?
there are individual rules, and apart from this, I mean the state rules. Apart from this, the Shop and Establishment Act actually very clearly stipulates that if somebody is spending, regular hours every day in the office for a regular job, then that person should not be called a consultant. For some time it can continue, but obviously not for long. There are advantages of calling a person a consultant to save certain tax, and that person can declare himself as a service provider and get also service tax benefit if it is below 9 lakhs. I think that is the limit.
Right.
So that take home increases.
Right.
So but I think he has to comply with the law in case he's really seriously wants to increase his consulting business.
Right.
Or otherwise just have people operating from their homes and let the consulting be provided by them from a distance.
Okay, but a sector like healthcare consultancy, I would think that he would want some experts to be on board at all times. Wouldn't you think so, Mr. Maini?
In regard to contract in particularly, we are not talking really about the labor segment. The Industrial Disputes Act and the Contract Labor Act basically look at the labor segment.
Yes.
As far as that is concerned, if he is concerned about that, that applies to organizations having 20 employees or more. So he has to decide whether he falls within that cutoff limit or not. Secondly, the Industrial Dispute Act also very clearly distinguishes between a workman and a supervisory staff.
Right.
So if all these consultants obviously would fall within the purview of what is called the supervisory staff. And I don't really see any problem in terms of the law. So it's a call he has to take based on his requirements as to whether he wants permanent staff, contractual staff, or those who are available part-time in the day, whatever way.
All right. Dr. Desai, I hope that's answered your query. Next up, we have an email from Munish Soni, partner of Unitex Dye Chemical Industries from New Delhi. He writes, finance and technology are both huge challenges for us. Getting finance for setting up a manufacturing unit is very difficult. After that, we have to compete with prices of Chinese products. Getting imported technology is extremely expensive as well. How is Make in India going to be possible for us? Rajiv.
You see, if he's setting up a manufacturing plant, definitely the chances of getting a loan are much higher, and chances of getting a loan are much faster. Chances of getting a faster loan are much higher. And also because you create assets, those assets can be mortgaged, you can get term loans. So the possibilities are much bigger, whether now in Make in India or before Make in India.
Right.
And as far as technology is concerned, again there are certain schemes which are technology absorption schemes, which SIDBI funds, and State Bank of India itself has a lot of schemes.
Right.
So I'm sure if he reaches out to the right people, he would be able to get the funds.
Getting best technology at affordable prices, that's a challenge you would have heard very often from enterprises like Munish's. So what's your suggestion to him?
Well, SIDBI has launched 2 schemes which are specifically aimed at the Make in India initiative. The first scheme provides loans across all schemes of SIDBI with a 0.5% concession in the interest rates, basically. And the second scheme provides a soft loan as a subordinated debt or a quasi-equity, which helps the promoters to meet the gap in the debt-equity ratio also.
Right.
And this could be up to 10% of the project cost for general categories, and up to 15% in the case of SC, ST, persons with disabilities, and women entrepreneurs. Okay. So he could look at which of these schemes works for him. Incidentally, the rate under this second soft loan scheme, which is called SMILE, the quasi-equity comes at a fixed rate of 9.9% with a moratorium of 2 years on the principal payment. And the loan, the term loan comes at rates between 10 to 10.5% depending upon the credit rating of the MSME. And these, I must say, are very, very competitive rates compared to the rates currently in the market. So any technology upgradation program, etc., would easily get covered under these schemes.
Okay, so Munish, I hope that's answered your query. Next up, we have a caller called Vijay Bhaskar, MD of UBE Industries from Hyderabad. Yes, Mr. Bhaskar, fire away your question, please.
Many SMEs are developing innovative technologies and technically high-spend projects, but SMEs are not being considered by either the government or non-government agencies for commercializing of their products. What the government or non-government aspects are doing for them for their development, which is very, very excellent projects also. Can you explain me?
All right. So here's a company that possibly has an innovative technology or a project that it wants to commercialize and cannot find a viable option. How does he go about it, Rajiv?
You see, I would say there are many schemes, which are available, but let's say talk about Hyderabad itself, where his company is based. If he has a truly innovative technology and commercialization is what is affecting him, he should approach, his State Development Corporation, Industrial Development Corporation. They extend very good loans because they are also happy if the, commercialization of such technologies happen. Incubation centers are there, and Hyderabad is a hub for them. The small scale industry associations and institutes are there across. So he should reach out to them, and I'm sure he can get good help. Maybe even the customer can finance you sometimes,
Right.
if he finds the technology very good or at a good price.
Yes,
so
if you're able to show that value
Yes,
proposition
yes.
to a customer, he might just,
Yes,
I mean, it is the
exactly.
era of crowdsourcing. All right, Mr. Bhaskar, help yourself and reach out to local bodies, says Rajiv Karwal. Let's look at our next email. This one is from SK Manhar, MD of Primon Instruments. He writes, every month we are required to do so much paperwork with respect to taxation, accounting and other government requirements. There are so many records to be maintained for import, export, manufacturing, sales tax, etc. A lot of my time and effort goes in these formalities instead of focusing on business growth. How do I cope with these requirements? Mr. Meni?
Well, as the situation exists today, yes, there are a large number of laws, we agree, and you should have an expert who's able to provide you these services on contractual basis to take care of your day-to-day problems also.
Right.
Having said that, I think the government is really seized of the problem in terms of the ease of doing business. There are about 44 labor and contract, etc. laws which they are trying to crash into 4 codes. And they are also trying to bring out a law under which organizations which would employ up to 40 people would be outside the purview of the labor laws also.
Right.
So there is a lot of work being done on simplification of the laws, and certain steps have been taken as far as the MSME is concerned. For example, in terms of registration today, it's a one-page format which is required to be filled in since September under the new regime, basically a one-page format for your registration.
Yes.
Likewise, for rehabilitation of SMEs, a section has been included already in the MSMED Act. Though the insolvency proceedings is coming separately, but this section for rehabilitation, restructuring, etc. of the MSMEs has already been included in the MSMED Act. So a lot of work has gone on and is going on in this area.
All right.
I want to add something.
Yes, please do.
See, I think basically Mr. Mani has given a technical answer, but let me give a straight answer to him. I find that there are prioritization issues with him and there are trust issues with him. If he prioritizes his time and thinks that if he spends money, his time on business and he can get so much of more business and more income into the business, then he should hand over this work to somebody else, which is at a slightly lower level,
delegate.
because it's a compliance issue, right? And spend time more in business expansion. And if you're not doing that, purely it is a trust issue that you find it very difficult to trust other people with this sort of a work, right? So get competent people and spend your time in expanding your business. That is why you created the business in the first place.
Yes.
But if you are spending time in
You're
only
stuck
filling
in
the
the
forms,
day-to-day activities
Yes.
of,
Yes.
then when are you going to really have the
Yes.
vision to expand?
And if you have become an expert in filling the forms, then maybe that is your business.
All right. That's another business opportunity coming up for you, Mr. Manhar. Let's connect with our next caller today. He's Mohammad Salim Dhukka, CEO of Chem Seals Engineering, and he joins us from Mumbai. Hello, Mr. Dhukka. How can we help you today?
Our company is manufacturing mechanical seals, which is used in rotary equipment. We are interested to have some sort of joint venture, like we know one company in Italy. So we are interested to have a tie-up with them so we can explore better market over here in India. But as being a family-oriented company, all the process by which we can attract them to come to India.
Okay, here's a company that manufactures seals that are used across different industries. They're looking for a joint venture partner. What's the best way to attract a good JV partner? And they're looking at Italy.
There are two bodies which would be of relevance to him. One is the Indo-Italian Chamber of Commerce and Industry. And I understand that they actually have consultants who help in identifying joint venture partners. Secondly, there is an arm of the Italian government also which does this particular kind of work. And the third measure would be what we've been talking about invariably, participation in trade fairs and exhibitions. So these are the three ways where his Indo-Italian kind of venture can be worked out. Having said that, a joint venture is not merely something you sign on paper. There's a lot of technical effort which goes into planning a joint venture, trying to get the right kind of cultural fit with the joint venture partner, and a lot of other arrangements before a joint venture can actually take off successfully, which is where a lot of probably expert advice is invariably needed, particularly for handholding MSMEs who want to enter into joint ventures. And I'd suggest he finds the right kind of experienced organization to handhold him through the whole process, also particularly the legal aspects relating to joint ventures.
All right, perfect. Well, with that, it's a wrap on Leaders of Tomorrow Direct Connect. If you have any queries or need expert advice on any aspect of your business, feel free to get in touch with us. Every week, we'll take your questions to our business experts and try to get you all the answers. Write to us at leadersoftomorrow@timesgroup.com or reach us using social media by putting in the hashtag LOT, or just call us on the number flashing on your screen. Thanks for joining us. Goodbye.